top of it to get in those classes because they fill up. And he took philosophy and religion and some political classes, but he kept taking some of them over at the same class over and over and over again, right? So one of the reasons was this professor named Thaddeus Williams. And I tried to get him here today to give Don's eulogy, but he was unavailable. But he raved about Thaddeus Williams, and Thaddeus had been all over the world and experienced all the different religions. And that's what Don had done. You know, he lived amongst the Muslims and the Christians in the Middle East and what that looked like. And he traveled to Asia. And so he had a different perspective than maybe some of us who have just lived in California or done different things. So when people talked about religion, he had a different view and he had different questions. So he loved that Thad had studied and gotten his PhD in Amsterdam, and he'd go to Thad, but he wanted to know what Thad believed because he loved Thad and how he interpreted everything. And Thad would say, I believe in the resurrection, because it was a philosophy class and he couldn't say much. And so that is the part of that. So Thad was going to be here to do the eulogy today. I didn't know my brother was so incredible and could write 10-page eulogy. You should see what he's written and been inspired to do, and he shared parts of it with me last night. So I feel so honored and proud to bring Brent, my younger and better-looking brother, to share with you the memories of our father.
Thanks, Garth.
Teleprompter?
Should have had you read all this. Goodness. Yeah. Well, welcome all. I appreciate y'all being here. This is pretty amazing. Pretty special. Might have to play the bugle just to lighten my heart. I'll do that later. So, Donald Eugene Peterson. Don. Uncle Don. The Donald. Anybody call him the Donald? Pete. Anybody know him as Pete? It's an old name. His college roommates, I think, called him Pete Peterson. Grandpa Don, and of course Dad. This was the man. Donald, named after his uncle, was born in Bowman, North Dakota, to Stella and Eugene. He was 4 pounds 3/4 ounces, or 4 3/4 pounds when he was born. Dad should have been in an incubator and been incubated, but back then the shoebox on the stove would have to do. Crazy enough, right? At the age of 3 months, and now all of 10 pounds, Dad went on his first trip to California. At 10 months, he moved out west to Los Angeles. He lived in Hollywood and Burbank, and attended Catholic school throughout his younger years. His 2 sisters, Gail and Susan, joined the family as well. In his teenage years, Dad reportedly was out and about discovering life, hanging with the boys, working a paper route, mowing lawns, and working hard to save money so he could pay his sisters to clean his room. Yeah, found that out this week. Ultimately graduated from Burbank High School in 1956 and was well on his way to his adult life. In his college years, he attended Glendale College in San Jose State, yielding an Associate's in Arts and a Bachelor of Science. Unfortunately, I don't know the details of his college antics, but I can only imagine the color this period brought to his life. I'm sure some of you have some great stories about the college days, and I'd love to hear them sometime. In July of 1958, he joined the Naval Academy as a cadet through 1964. It was there his passion for aviation blossomed. In the Navy, he started as an aircraft mechanic and promoted his way to pilot. Hundreds of hours were logged in Cessnas, T-34s, and helicopters, and he acquired his commercial fixed and rotorcraft rating with multiple instrument ratings, which is quite the feat for a young man. That's a pretty impressive accomplishment in my book. Onward in his life, He landed his first real job in the aviation industry with Lockheed and started his career as an aviation executive later. As an executive. Later in life, real estate became his career, from which he really never retired. In 1963, he met my mom, Shirley King, at a party. They fell in love and they were married in Santa Monica in 1964. His family had begun. They purchased the Mustang on their honeymoon for $2,500. Amazing. And drove it straight to the World Fair in New York. Yeah, probably with the top down all the way, I'm guessing, even if it rained. Dad and Mom had Kara in 1967 and me in 1971. We all lived together in our beautiful Woodland Hills home for the next 15 years. During that time, he traveled long and far, always to return with gifts. Specifically, as Kara recalled, the elaborate dolls from around the globe. Upon his return, we get a chance to catch up, and he'd share stories of his trips. My travels began as well at the age of 3 when Dad summoned Mom to pack the kids, meet him in Egypt via London and Beirut, where we spent apparently 11 weeks in the Cairo hotel living, and I think I lived on nothing but peanut butter and crackers.
And sea cola.
Right?
And sea cola because we didn't want to drink the milk.
And sea, well, you know, yeah, there you go. Yep. So yes. As I flew over the Sierras yesterday, I thought of Dad. Huh. Excuse me for a sec.
Your nose. Your finger to your nose.
What? Finger in my nose? Copy that. The hundreds of thousands of miles he flew allowed him to see the extraordinary beauty of the world from a perspective most will never see. His impressive stack of passports, which I hope you all get to check out, it's pretty incredible, are jammed to the gills with stamps from all of those places. He would tell you that he's been to every country in the world, except for one, Cuba, which Dad and I were planning to go together in the near future. At the age of 12, my dad wrote in his autobiography, which if you get a chance, I'll put this out on the table. This is an autobiography he wrote when he was 12. He said, "I do not have many hobbies." I thought that was strange for him. However, in reading on, his passion for flying came through. "I have hundreds of pictures of airplanes," he wrote, "and ever since I saw my first jet plane, I wanted to be a jet pilot." And then he also went on to say, "When I am old enough, I want to join the Air Force and go to school to learn about the airplanes. I do not know much about it, but what makes the plane fly. From it, I will get lots of money, a nice home, a nice car, and all kinds of nice things. I will be giving my services to the United States and the world," which I thought was pretty cool at the end there. While he did not join the Air Force, he joined the Navy, which allowed him to bring his dream to life. It's amazing to me the vision of a 12-year-old boy. He said he'd be a pilot, and he did it. A friend said to me, "That's incredible. He realized his dream, and it happened." Where's my water? Sorry.
You're right there.
Oh, it's fine.
Pour it out of the vase.
I'm good, thank you.
Wine.
That's vodka. Okay.
There's water.
My dad would be classic for sticking a little shot of vodka that looked like water in his glass and wander around with it like, you know, it's nothing. Christine busted him a few times, I think. In 1982, he met and married again. Christine, my stepmom. She told me that he was the love of her life. She was swept off her feet at the rafters in Mammoth, and her adventure began with him. She said she'd never even been on a plane, and Dad took her all over the world. They lived